go ahead and have a seat. How are you feeling today? You seem like you have something on your mind. No, that's okay. Take your time. You don't have to explain everything perfectly. Just tell me what's been going on. So it's about your friend, okay? And you said they haven't really been talking to you lately. How long has it been since you've heard from them? I'm just going to make a brief note. And when you say they haven't been talking to you, do you mean they're not responding at all? Or they're responding, but things just feel different? So they're not completely ignoring you, but they're definitely more distant than they normally are. I understand. And that's been bothering you quite a bit. What has that been like for you? I can tell you've been thinking about it a lot. Now I'd like to get more details on what has occurred between you and your friend. So I'm just going to continue to type notes as we go. And if you feel uncomfortable, have any questions or concerns throughout, please don't hesitate to let me know. When did you first notice that something felt different? Okay? And what happened the last time you two talked? Was there an argument? No? Okay. Was there some kind of disagreement? No? And did they actually tell you that they were upset with you? No. That's important. Did they say that they didn't want to be friends anymore? No? Have they told you that you did something wrong? No. So let me make sure I've got this right. Your friend has been distant. They're not communicating with you the way they normally do, but they haven't actually told you that they're angry with you. They haven't told you that you did something wrong. And they haven't told you that they don't want to be friends anymore. Is that accurate? Now I want to separate what's actually happening from what's happening inside your head. What have you been telling yourself since this started? What I'm getting from this is that you think they're mad at you, correct? What else? You think maybe you said something wrong. Anything else? You think maybe they're talking about you to other people and you've started wondering if the friendship is over. And how often have you been thinking about this? That much? Okay. So this isn't something that comes up every once in a while. Good to know. It seems like your brain keeps coming back to it, replaying conversations, trying to figure out what you might have done, trying to figure out what they're thinking, trying to predict what's going to happen. And the more you think about it, the more anxious you become. I think I see the pattern. What I'd like to discuss with you is the overthinking spiral. Let's use your situation. First step, something happens. In this case, your friend becomes distant. Step 2, your brain asks, why? And because you don't have an answer, this leads to step 3. Your brain starts to create one. For instance, you're thinking, they're mad at me. I must have done something. Maybe they don't like me anymore. Maybe they're talking about me. Or maybe our friendship is over. And before you know it, with the last step, your brain has taken one piece of information and created an entire story. That's the spiral. And the difficult part is that every new thought can make the original fear feel more believable. You think they're mad, then you remember that they took longer than usual to respond last week. Then you think, see, there was probably something wrong then too. And now you're looking backward for evidence. Then you start checking your phone, wondering whether they've seen your message, thinking about whether you should send another one, wondering whether they're online, and suddenly you're spending hours trying to solve something you don't actually have enough information to solve. Does that sound familiar? I'd like for us to slow this down. I want us to focus on what we know versus what we're assuming. This is a really useful exercise when your thoughts start getting ahead of the facts. First, what do we actually know? Correct. We know that your friend has been distant. That's a fact. We also know that there hasn't been an argument. That's right. And they haven't told you that they're angry. What else do we know? Correct. They haven't told you that you did something wrong. Yes, they also haven't told you that the friendship is over. Okay? So that's what we know. Now let's look at the other side. What are some assumptions you've made about what's going on currently? They're mad at me, but do you know this to be true? Is this a fact? No, so that's an assumption. Not necessarily an impossible one, but we don't have evidence yet. Any other thoughts that have come to mind? I must have done something wrong. Do we know that? No. Another assumption. They're probably talking about me. Do we know that? No. Another assumption. Anything else? Our friendship is over. Do we know that? No. That is an assumption as well. Think about the difference. The facts are actually pretty small, but the story your mind created is huge. That's what anxiety can do. It takes an uncomfortable unknown and fills all the empty spaces with the worst possible explanation. I know not knowing why your friend is distant is uncomfortable. And I think that's actually what your brain is struggling with the most. You don't have an answer, so your mind keeps searching for one. Because sometimes a painful answer can feel easier than no answer at all. If you know they're angry, at least you know what's happening. If you know the friendship is over, at least you know where you stand. But uncertainty leaves the door open to every possible explanation, and that's where overthinking can really take off. But here's the problem. Your brain can give you an answer without actually having evidence. You don't know that they're angry. You don't know that you did something wrong. You don't know that they're talking about you. And you don't know that the friendship is over. You know that they're distant. That's all. And right now, that's enough. I want to teach you a little strategy that you can remember when your brain starts doing this. It's very simple. It's called maybe, maybe not. For instance, if your brain says they're mad at me, you don't have to argue with it. You don't have to convince yourself that everything is fine. You can simply say maybe, maybe not. If your brain says they don't want to be my friend anymore, maybe, maybe not. They're talking about me. Maybe, maybe not. I ruined the friendship. Maybe, maybe not. Do you see what we're doing? We're not telling ourselves a positive story. We're not telling ourselves a negative story. We're simply refusing to treat an unknown as a fact. And that can take a lot of power away from the thought. There's another thing I want you to know about. When you're caught in an overthinking spiral, grounding techniques can be helpful. You don't need to do one with me right now. I just want you to understand what they're for. Sometimes I'll encourage someone to notice things around them, what they can see, what they can hear, what they can physically feel. The goal isn't to make the problem disappear. It's not about pretending you aren't worried. It's simply a way of reminding your brain, I'm here, I'm in this moment, I'm dealing with what's happening right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not the imaginary conversation you've already had in your head 20 times, but right now. You can also use slow, comfortable breathing when you notice your body becoming tense again. You don't have to do that with me right now. Just know that it's another tool you can return to when your thoughts become overwhelming. I'm going to add something else to your notes. Our treatment focus will be increasing tolerance for uncertainty. That's really what we're working on. Not proving that your friend isn't angry, not proving that the friendship is okay, not figuring out what they're thinking. We are practicing being able to say, I don't know, and then continuing with your day. That can be really difficult, but it's a skill, and skills get stronger with practice. I know this is hard, especially because you care about this person. When someone becomes distant, it's very easy to immediately search yourself for an explanation. What did I do? What did I say? Was it that one conversation? Should I have responded differently? But you don't have to put yourself on trial every time someone else's behavior changes. Other people have their own feelings, their own circumstances, their own lives, and sometimes their behavior has absolutely nothing to do with us. We don't know if that's what's happening here, and that's okay. We don't need to guess. Before we finish, I'm just going to make a few final notes. Today's session, we focused on identifying the overthinking spiral. We separated facts from assumptions, discussed grounding techniques, discussed uncertainty, tolerance, learned the maybe, maybe not technique. That's everything I needed. Before you go, I want you to remember something. You don't have to solve your friendship tonight. You don't have to figure out what your friend is thinking. You don't have to replay every conversation you've ever had with them. And you don't need to punish yourself for something you don't even know you did. If there's something you need to address, you can address it when you have more information. But until then, you're allowed to live your life. You can eat dinner, watch your favorite show, laugh, relax. You can have a good day, even while something remains unresolved. You don't have to put your entire life on hold while you're waiting for someone else's response. And if your mind starts asking, but what if? You already know what to say. Maybe, maybe not. and then come back to what you know. You did really well today. You were very honest with me, and I know it's not always easy to sit with uncertainty. But you don't have to have every answer before you can feel okay. Take care of yourself tonight. Try to give your mind a little break. You've done enough thinking for today. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourself, okay? Good night.